It's a gorgeous day in Dallas, Texas as we approach the headliner of the USL Super League full finale. Dallas Trinity FC welcome top of the league Brooklyn FC. Amber Brooks has been Dallas Trinity's enforcer in the middle of the park, affecting plays in impressive style on both sides of the ball. Brooklyn FC's Mackenzie Pluck has featured in all but 17 minutes of Brooklyn's stunning 5-game win streak. Scriptwriters couldn't have dreamt of a better ending to the USL Super League full schedule. Dallas Trinity welcome Brooklyn FC in a top-of-the-table clash. It's on Peacock next. The historic Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas, Texas is the perfect destination for this afternoon's top-of-the-table battle as Dallas Trinity FC welcome Brooklyn FC for what will be their final matches of the inaugural full schedule. Jessica Charm and Hayley Sutton, our entire crew, welcome you to coverage of the match on Peacock. And as we look at the standings in the USL Super League, it's clear how pivotal this match will be. Brooklyn FC need to avoid a lopsided loss to maintain their #1 position. Dallas Trinity FC require a victory by 3 goals in order to swing the goal differential. Now, Hayley, Dallas Trinity are delighted that this is a home match today. The Cotton Bowl has been a dream venue for them so far.
Yeah, you talk about home sweet home, Jessica. They have really fit that mold when it comes to playing at the Cotton Bowl. Dallas Trinity have outscored the opponents 11-5 in this home stretch. They just feel comfortable, even in a massive venue that holds over 100,000 fans. They find a way to fill the space. It's really been fun for the city of Dallas, too, to have a women's soccer team to look up in such a historic venue.
The only side in the entire USL Super League that is unbeaten at home. Goals will be paramount today, though. Look no further than Trinity's Ali Thornton to lead their attack.
And she's the leading goal scorer for this team for a reason. Actually, second in the league in goals as well with 6 total. But she just finds herself in the right place at the right time. And really in the biggest moments of the game. You see here, Dallas needed a goal in this game, and they got it courtesy of her. She's been a great player to build the offense around. She jump-starts a lot of that offense as well, too. Just a pivotal player on the field.
Brooklyn FC's climb to the top of the table has been a result of a show-stopping 5-game win streak. They've been unstoppable.
Yeah, Coach talked about that dropping that game to Carolina was almost the turning point. They didn't like the feeling of losing, and you've seen that on display over the last 5 games. They're really a team-oriented program that likes to utilize everybody on the pitch, and those 5-game winning streaks that we've seen already have been proof of just how good they've been playing in this stretch.
They've scored 6 goals in their last 2 matches, and a huge part of their offensive stability has been Luana Grabias. Head coach Jess Silva told us goal scoring is a result of an improved work ethic.
And sometimes you just need to settle in, right? Sometimes it takes players 3 games, others it takes a little longer. But man, Luana Grabias has really found her form. She's so technical on the ball. And then her soccer IQ to find the proper finishes, tucking this ball away into the back corner. She's really, really dangerous in front of net, and it'll be something that Dallas will have to watch out for if they want to be successful.
Well, Dallas Trinity FC versus Brooklyn FC is moments away from kickoff. The top of the table clash is rightly the headliner of today's USL Super League full finale. Will Brooklyn FC pull away from the pack, or can Dallas Trinity continue to build a fortress at the Cotton Bowl? Find out next on Peacock.
Is UT Southwestern Medical Center, and this is where a spark happens. This is the teamwork that fuels it, the mentors who shape it. And this is where it comes together, with this care team connecting the dots, all leading up to this moment right here at UT Southwestern, where discoveries change lives. And this spark is just the beginning. Follow your spark at UT Southwestern, the future of medicine today.
You think you know the why, but we're so much more. We're a nonprofit that empowers, engages, and brings joy to young children. We provide life-saving water safety skills and a helping hand to working parents. We're a nonprofit that provides meals to families in need. From seniors to children and everyone in between, we create belonging, lifelong relationships, and memories. You think you know the why? Come see how our nonprofit strengthens North Texas every day. Because we're more than a place, we're a purpose.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked bebidas.
Once the game kicks off, the hype doesn't matter anymore. Your follower count means nothing. Your resume is irrelevant. What matters is the moment, the game, the crest on the front of your jersey, the people you play for. Are you going to make history? Are you going to save the day? Are you going to score a hat trick, break some ankles, or give a kid the thrill of a lifetime? This is what the movement is all about. These moments that matter. The USL Super League.
It's a blockbuster of a full finale on Peacock as we are moments from the first whistle in today's fight for the #1 seed over winter break. Dallas Trinity FC welcome Brooklyn FC in today's Hat Trick for Heroes match, and it's presented by UT Southwestern, a great event at the Cotton Bowl today, talking about representing the healthcare professionals. Now, Jessica Charm and Hayley Sutton will get into the lineups, and first for Dallas Trinity FC, this is how Pauline McDonald has opted to set up her side.
And she's really taken a lot of time to find the right chemistry on the field. We're seeing Sierra Hinson and Allie Thornton, who we spotlighted earlier, really come into their own. But pay attention to the middle of the field. Sam Meza has been on a tear. Amber Brooks is the defensive stronghold in the middle of the field. Partner that with Gracie Bryant is going to be very, very tight in the midfield.
Also keep an eye on Ubagagu back into the bench. For Brooklyn, Jess Silver has gone with this starting 11 in what is arguably the most important game of the season.
Listen, Jess, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Am I right? The only question that we'll be watching is in the goalkeeper position. Purcell has been swapped in there. They've had some changes in terms of the goalkeeper role there. So we'll pay attention to how that makes an impact. But either way, when you look across the field, any of these players can score. It'll be interesting to see who gets on the board first.
The front line gets a lot of credit for Jess Silver's side, but her goalkeeper union between Purcell and Martinez is strong. Our referee for the day is Gerald Flores. He will be tasked with what is expected to be a physical matchup at the Cotton Bowl. As we get a look at the Brooklyn FC huddle, they'll be wearing their gray uniform. And it will be, of course, the maroon home kits for Dallas Trinity FC. The scriptwriters really couldn't have written it any better. Brooklyn FC on their 5-game win streak, #1 in the table right now, have to head to the most difficult place to play in USL Super League right now, the Cotton Bowl. It will be a Dallas Trinity kickoff to get things underway. Hinson stands over the top, and we are underway in a game of the ages. Dallas Trinity versus Brooklyn as the first touch goes wayward. Hayley Sutton, Jessica Charman here with you. And Hayley, maybe a little early nerves from that kickoff.
Yeah, maybe just a little too excited for Dallas Trinity, but I don't expect that to be the script, as we keep alluding to in this game. Both of these teams really enjoy possession. I think Dallas more so than Brooklyn, so it's going to kind of be a few minutes where they feel each other out in this first 5 minutes or so.
It was interesting. We both had the opportunity to talk to both Jess Silver with Brooklyn, Pauline McDonald with Dallas Trinity. They kind of told us to calm down. It's an exciting game, but we're just delighted to be playing again. But listen, this is the game that all neutrals want their eyes on. Here's Kroger. It will be a battle of the Sams between Sam Kroger and Sam Mesa. Sam Mesa, of course, the reigning USL Super League Player of the Month for Dallas Trinity.
She really did have a great November. It kind of started with that, at the time, the fastest goal in Super League history. I was on the call for that game, and me and my play-by-play were actually so surprised at how quickly it came. But when you watch the replay, everything about what Mesa did in front of net was so intentional, and you've seen that confidence grow game after game after game.
That was Mesa. Dorsey back to Mesa, this time a little heavy with her touch. Be recovered in the middle of the park as Brian tried to take it down, unable to do so. We do hear the band in attendance today. The Cotton Bowl Stadium atmosphere was fantastic last time out in the victory for Dallas Trinity against Tampa Bay Sun. And seems like the band has received another invite, Haley, and rightly so. You're a Texas gal. This must bring you joy.
Oh, I know. I'm geeking out a little bit here. Going to remain as unbiased as possible on this broadcast, obviously, because it's my job. But to see what women's soccer has become in the city of Dallas, it's really special. You know, we have FC Dallas, the MLS side, but soccer is still continuing to grow in the DFW area. So to not only have a program that is excelling in a brand new league, but just allowing more opportunities for young women on the academy side, it's really been special for me to see and a privilege to get to talk about it on TV with you.
A little bit of a heavy touch in the middle of the park. It's recovered by Dallas Trinity. Sun beating down, but they will recover possession. Driving forwards now, a beautiful run forwards, is eventually thwarted by the recovery. Here's Mesa. Mesa outside of the ball flick, was searching for Thornton. It'll be the first touch in goal for Nico Purcell. Jess Silva, very clear her goalkeeper union. She feels like she's the most privileged coach in the league, Haley, with that battle between Sydney Martinez and Nico Purcell.
And we've seen that a lot in this league where it's the first, you know, half of a brand new league. A lot of coaches are really just trying to figure out what works best for them. But Coach Silva really talked about, you mentioned it being a privilege, both of these goalkeepers bringing different strengths and different opportunities. So it's really been a competition between them two, which makes it even bigger as the season has gone on.
This, of course, the 5th time that Nico Purcell has been given the nod in goal. Has 2 clean sheets so far in her 4 games played. Brooklands FC goalkeeper looks to be tested strongly by the best attack statistically in the league as we get a look at Jess Silva right now. Such a fantastic coach who has done things right in Brooklyn and right now trying to make sure her players remain grounded on this 5-win victory streak that they find themselves on.
And I just loved our conversations that we had. We learned so much about these teams in these coaches meetings, but just to sit down and listen to the soccer IQ, listen to how passionate both of these coaches are about their players. Like I said, it's just been really refreshing to see how the league has grown, and it's hard to believe that we're already at the end of the first half.
It's been an incredible full schedule. Reminder, spring schedule will kick back up in February after this extended winter break. One of the pioneers of the league, such a special part to try and match the calendar and allow this break respite for the players involved. Brooklyn FC tried to throw down the channel. They do now recover it. It's Yapel. Inside to Grabias. Grabias will put it ahead of Yapel. She's got the legs. Can she catch it? Not quite. Trickles out of play. And as we take a look at the injury report that's brought to you by UT Southwestern, it's good to see these injuries shrinking a little bit. We saw that Ubagagu last week was on that injury report. She is now available for selection. That'll be a huge bolster for Dallas Trinity to have a player with that much experience available off of the bench.
Well, Ubagagu is just such an important piece of what Pauline McDonald likes to do with her team. She's so good at creating space, separating and lengthening the field, I should say, and then just playing those driven balls into the box. She's really been someone that they've missed. Hopefully she's available to go today. Maybe we see her get some late second half action too. But when you talk about the injuries, when it comes to Dallas, McDonald's talked to us a lot about that. It's been difficult to try and find some consistency with the injuries that they've dealt with. So she even said, we've exceeded our expectations in being where we're at in this position in second place.
Throw-in taken far side for Brooklyn FC, but it's picked up by Dallas Trinity. A wayward pass, very nice recovery there by Yapel. Scarpelli. Scarpelli picks it up. A little bit of light pressure. She's able to find the pass up to Yapel. Yapel, pressed by Weinbrenner, will go all the way back to Purcell in goal. Still only 21 years of age, the goalkeeper, and this time swipes it out of play. Long throw-in for Dallas Trinity, searching for Thornton. Takes an awkward hop inside the box. Thornton will get on the end of it. Ali Thornton shielding the ball. Joined by 2, able to get a cross in. Kroger blocks it, and we will have our first corner kick of the game, and it's the home side reaping the rewards.
Well, Allie Thornton, we spotlighted her in the open for a reason. I mentioned her being in the right place in the right time, and that's her experience sort of showing her ability to hold the ball in the corner there and then earn the corner kick. We saw Dallas take it kind of quickly, didn't take advantage maybe the way they could have, but Allie Thornton is such a key part of their offense.
It's a disappointing corner service in the end coming in from Sam Messer, but it will shape up a long throw, ball in the hands of Rachel Pace. Pace sends it high in the sky towards the edge of the 6. Hinson tried to flick it on. In the end, the touch off of Dorsey into the hands of Purcell. Haley, you have to imagine Nico Purcell, as much as she has some experience, it's got to be nerve-wracking when you have only started 4 games prior to this one.
Well, think about the game of soccer as a whole, right? The whole purpose of this beautiful game is to score more goals than the other team. So you already have that pressure on you as a goalkeeper of you're trying to make sure that you don't allow goals, but to not have that experience in a pivotal moment as well, because we keep talking about the finish to the fall slate, it's important. So she's gonna have to separate the nerves. We've already seen her be very active in this first half. I'm sure she'll settle in as time goes by.
Handball eventually called as it bobbled up to Hinson. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Super League and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Did look like Hinson just saw an awkward bobble up into her arm, which will allow Brooklyn FC to reset with this free kick. Purcell drives it forwards, high and long. In the end, George couldn't get any control on the ball. Grabias trying to hustle. It's Hardiman with the long searching ball forward for Hinson to chase. Hinson will get there. Has options in front in the box. Hinson's cross into the 6. Corralled by Purcell.
It's a great ball in from Sierra Hinson. As you see it here, just driven across. And look at the weight of this pass. A beautiful ball that puts Hinson in behind the behind the Brooklyn line here. And then this pass right here, not too much weight. I think the trailing player for Dallas was just a little off in terms of her timing, but that's what Sierra Hinson brings to this game, a level of composure that they need up there at the top.
Amber Brooks launches a ball forward. It's perfectly placed into the boots of Hinson. Hinson cuts it back to Messer. Messer rounding the defender, takes the strike, deflects. A second corner of the afternoon for Trinity. And Pauline McDonald, Dallas Trinity's head coach, will be very happy with the way that her side have started. Another corner. Rachel Pace heads over to the corner to take this one. Pace in swinger, driven swinger. Thornton almost able to connect. Ends back with Messer. Second bite, driven again. Purcell, did she get a touch? Just grazed across the face of goal.
I'm wondering if a point of emphasis for Dallas at practice this week was those low-driven balls, because that's been the theme very early. Even this ball in from Sam Meza, it looked almost like she was trying to find a runner on the back post there, but it had enough pace. If it had the curl, we could be looking at another early goal from her. But this is where Brooklyn is going to have to be careful. Dallas is their best when they start settling in. They get those 1-2 passes in the middle. We've seen Hinson be so effective in playing those balls in. Brooklyn is going to have to be careful. Don't let them get in too much of a rhythm.
Feels like Dallas Trinity as well, targeting Purcell a little bit. They'll do so again here. Dorsey thwarted by a good stab tackle away. Yapel. And a good recovery in the end, coming from Thornton to knock it out for the throw. Leah Scarpelli, ball in hands. Scarpelli, the former A-League player in Australia, finding a home back in America. Such an important part of the USL Super League, getting players back to their country. There's a good interception, as you mentioned, Haley, in the middle of the park, but Dallas Trinity FC couldn't connect the final ball.
And that's what Brooklyn likes to do. It's interesting, we've kind of seen pieces from either side, the other team sort of putting that on the field. But for Brooklyn, they really, really love to high press. They like getting you disrupted and messing up your possession. Curious if we'll see them start to settle into that a little bit more, if they'll focus more on the possession that we've seen through the first 11 minutes of this game.
Jess Silva mentioned she wanted to be a team that is uncomfortable to play, but they're a little uncomfortable in the back line right now as Hinson gets called for a foul. Sierra Hinson making sure that the Brooklyn FC defenders know that they're going to be in for a war today.
Hinson has been so active already, just a little bit of a physical shove there. But clearly not afraid to put her body out there. It's something with Sierra Hinson, and I'm sure we'll be talking about her a lot as this game has gone on, but it's really become a part of her game. She's kind of become that target player up top that the offense sort of works through. Now you're starting to see that confidence too, where you're adding the physicality and the pressure part of that too. But she's just been so integral, especially when you think about the formation shift that McDonald has implemented about midway through the season too.
Pantuso did have to get a look from the athletic trainer. Looks like she might have got a nail to the face there, a bit of a scratch mark on her cheek, and of course, as we know with blood, have to get that cleaned up. High press, Mesa steals it away. Thornton trying to get round the first defender, hangs up across towards the back post, and heading it over the crossbar is Rachel Pace. But Dallas Trinity pressing the pressers of Brooklyn FC.
And that's exactly what I said earlier. It's almost like these two teams have swapped game plans and they're playing each other's styles. Look at this ball, the high press there from Sam Mesa. She throws her shoulder in. Allie Thornton, we talk about her goal scoring, but how about this? Stretching the field, floating this ball, identifying the target on the back post there. Unfortunately for Pace, she had a little bit too much there as she was trying to head that through, but my goodness.
Another high press is fruitful from Bryan this time. She finds Hinson, winds up the strike, it's blocked. Mesa! Oh my goodness! Mesa just an inch away from a goal of the season candidate.
Are they feeling confident or what right now? Dallas Trinity all gas when it comes to the offense. And listen, there's no more difficult opponent to play against than a confident opponent. The high press, getting the shot off quickly. This is inches away. You even see the audience in the background. They thought that was going in. Brooklyn is going to have to adjust defensively here. They just are not being able to contain that high press that we're seeing out of Dallas. They're going to have to make some adjustments in the middle of the field.
Physical tackle in the end came in from Mackenzie Pluck, which was set up a Dallas Trinity FC free kick just inside their half. You have to wonder, though, to play devil's advocate, you've got to take advantage of the momentum that you have, Haley.
Yes, definitely, and it's almost a breath of fresh air for Brooklyn here that the run of play is stopped for a free kick. It gives them a chance to sort of reestablish their defensive presence.
Weinbrenner launched it forward, a bit of a miscommunication in the back between Kroger and Pantuso. In the end, Nico Purcell able to come and grab it. Dallas Trinity seem to be dominating the possession. This time it's Sam Kroger winning the duel with Sam Mesa. Kroger looking to make the headlines as she switches the ball beautifully forward into the run of Yapel. Yapel will keep it in play. Scarpelli with an early cross, too early. In the end, it's easy for Brooks to chip it forward. Hill. Scarpelli. Square pass. As Garziano playing very deep now. Mesa picks it up. Mesa, in the end, is pulled back for a free kick. Don't miss out, Dallas Trinity FC fans. The chase for the title continues this spring. Be a part of DTFC's inaugural season with our next home match on February 15th against Tampa Bay Sun FC. Scan the QR code for tickets and send an email to tickets@DallasTrinityFC.com. I know you wish you were in the Cotton Bowl right now. It's an atmosphere that's second to none.
It's a special place, man, and I know it's known for its football. The Red River rivalry is the most prominent game played there every year, but it really just embodies the city of Dallas, the history, the love of the sports, and I said it in the intro, it's just really cool to see women's sports being amplified in the same way. You hear the crowd, we saw the band. It's really been a special time for women's soccer in Dallas.
And USL Super League leading the way, this movement, this moment, creating opportunities for women to thrive in sports. An unpopular decision from the referee today, Gerald Flores, as he penalizes Sam Mesa for a foul, and it will set up a Brooklyn FC free kick.
Interesting that it's Sam Mesa, the one assessing the fouls, given that her last time out was a bit rough for some, maybe.
It was really interesting to see head coach Pauline McDonald say, as much as she was being chipped at, it made her better, it motivated her, it kind of gave her that laser focus in order to prove players that you can press me, but I'm still going to get past you. As the ball is looped in towards Hinson, trying to pressure Pantuso. Hinson fighting Pantuso. Great strength in the end from Alison Pantuso.
That's a great bit of defending for Pantuso, especially when you think about where she was on the pitch. That very easily could have been turned the other way into a foul in a dangerous area or even a PK. Great defending from Pantuso.
That was almost the Brooklyn FC we're so used to seeing, moving the ball quickly. The final pass a little wayward. Mesa back to goal. Chip ball forward by Dorsey. First touch by Thornton is sublime. Second touch a little under hit. In the end, it's a good recovery from Sam Kroger. So we pass over a quarter of an hour, Hayley. It's had every feeling of a cup final almost. There's a heavyweight boxing element to it, per se.
And what I love about matches like this is like there's this sense of tension, right? Until you see that first goal go in. It just feels like every single person on the pitch right now is waiting for that big moment to come, which makes it that much more entertaining, that much more exciting, because you know what both of these sides are capable of. I think as well with Brooklyn, they've got to be feeling good about where they're at right now as we approach the 20-minute mark. That first furious 5 minutes or so of the game for Dallas, that could have been 2 goals at some point. So just now we settle in, we relax, we get back to our game plan, which is what we've seen from Dallas this whole game so far.
The step forwards, searching past to Grabias, who's been a little bit too much on an island so far in the forward for Brooklyn FC. Just haven't seen enough touches out of the Brazilian U20 international Luana Grabias. Purcell, driven ball straight into Dallas Trinity colors yet again. Distribution from the goalkeeper has been an element of concern. Can Dallas Trinity punish? Dorsey, great move, and then a pass over to Thornton, who's drifted wide. Ali Thornton, square ball to Dorsey. Thornton, patient play from Ali Thornton. Thornton splits 2. Mesa back to goal. Mesa trying to find some inch of space. Mesa hangs it up. Too close to the goalkeeper. Purcell will come to claim.
And this is where you maybe miss having Ubagagu on the field. I know she typically plays in that left attacking role, but she just does such a good job of stretching the field. Ali Thornton is doing a great job of mimicking that on the right side, but I would almost love to see Ali in the box a little bit more, doing what she does best, and that's getting on the back of crosses.
With Sam Mesa dispossessing Sam Kroger. Brooks to Mesa. Mesa weighted past nicely. Dorsey takes it first time, wants it back.
That's one she's going to want back, maybe trying to get that pass out a little too early there. She's saying, that's my bad, I recognize it.
It has been all possession for Dallas Trinity FC right now in the attacking third. I've barely seen Brooklyn FC enter that area of the field. But that being said, the longer it stays at 0-0, when you have weapons on the pitch like Brooklyn FC in front of frame, Mackenzie George, 3 goals, Luana Grabias, 4 goals, Jess Garziano, 4 goals, you have to think that the chances will come from the side from Brooklyn. And here is a chance now. It's Yapel. Square ball, beautifully weighted into George. George, one way, the other. George can't find the second pass.
And it's a good recovery by Dallas to get back. Brooklyn had the trailing run on the backside, but it's a good sign of life as well. We just mentioned the fact that we haven't really seen a lot in the Brooklyn attacking third so far. But you mentioned it, there's moments of brilliance like we could see here.
Grabias onto the long ball, first time strike, gets underneath it.
And that's it. That's exactly what we're talking about when it comes to Brooklyn. There's just so many opportunities to score because of the weapons they have on this front line. It's a beautiful ball played up by Purcell, by the way, excuse me. And for Grabias, just trying to get that first touch out. Maybe had a little bit more time, but sometimes as a striker, you just need to get that first shot out of the way. So good sign for Brooklyn as they settle into this game.
It's Route 1 football, direct play, but almost reaping the rewards of the long ball from the goalkeeper, Purcell. Madison White in goal will send this one forward. Pace. More central than we've seen her recently, but now she'll go wide. Pace trying to get around the defense of Pickard, and Pickard's back pass to Purcell goes out for a corner kick. A little bit disappointing from Brooklyn FC, and how much of this could potentially be because you've got a goalkeeper that played last week but hasn't necessarily been your consistent starting number one.
Well, it just means that the back line is going to have to be extra disciplined today, and I know a lot in the modern game, you expect your defenders to get up in the attack a lot of times. Maybe for this first half, they hold back a little bit and focus on the defensive part of the game.
Pace drove that one low and hard again. It was cleared by Pickard, taking a couple of bounces. Scarpelli heads it forwards. Thornton back to Pace. Pace, cross deflected. Brooks was challenging, wasn't able to get there. Counter is on. Kroger connects with George. Sam Kroger ahead to Luana Grabias. Grabias, see that run of George, can't find the right pass. It'll be intercepted, nicely done by Dorsey.
And I just have a feeling that this is how this game is going to go, Jess. Back and forth, one team creating the opportunity. A beautiful move there from George.
George into the 18, squares it back to the 6. Vital interception by Dallas Trinity. The momentum, the pendulum has swung. In the aftermath of both hurricanes, Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with the United Way Suncoast to help Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the storm left behind. To learn how you can get more involved, scan the QR code or visit uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have access to the resources they need to recover.
Speaking of recover, as this ball goes out of bounds, it gives us a chance to settle in. This game has just been so back and forth, and it's almost refreshing because that's what we expected out of it, right? And now hopefully the goals start to fall and start to come, but what a battle between 1 and 2 here, especially when you think about what's at stake.
And as we've talked about, right now, Brooklyn FC in the driver's seat, controlling their destiny in terms of the #1 seed going into the winter break that follows this fall finale. They'd have to lose by 3 goals in order for goal differential to swing the pendulum of 1 and 2. Yapel put in the cross. And in the end, it's grabbed by Madison White, and you have to think the sun for the goalkeepers today, a nightmare.
It's a challenge, and it's hard because, you know, you're trying to direct. Madison White has been so good this season, though, in terms of her clean sheets and her communication. It's going to be that much more important, again, especially with the sun in your face, the back and forth nature of this game. Both of these goalkeepers are really going to have to keep their head on a swivel and communicate a little bit more, too.
White drives this one forward, headed back by Pantuso. And Kroger controls. Her pass is wayward, though. Hinson trying to pick the pocket of the defender, unable to do so this time. This time it's Brooklyn FC heading forward. End-to-end stuff. Long searching ball for George to chase. Madison White all the way to her edge of her 18, takes a miscue. She's pressed by George. And Madison White with a rush of blood to the head. And you see her just have a little giggle there with her defenders. She got off lucky.
A few minutes after saying the goalkeepers are going to have to be on their P's and Q's here. That's the opposite of what you need from your goalkeeper, especially with Brooklyn. Their bread and butter is that high press, so you have to expect every time the keeper gets a ball, you're going to have a few players pressing and trying to disrupt you like we just saw there with George.
Hinson gets it back from Dorsey. Hinson is onside. Her cross just ahead of the run of Ali Thornton. Sierra Hinson has been a live wire across the first 25 minutes of play.
Sierra Hinson is a player I'm so familiar with. I actually played against her in college when I was at North Texas. They were our opening round in the NCAA tournament, and Texas won that game largely in part because of the play of Sierra Hinson. She's a player who Pauline McDonald knew she wanted to be an integral part of the lineup. They were playing that 4-3-3, and it wasn't working, and so they moved the formation, excuse me, to a 3-5-2, and it's really allowed her to play a little bit more free, direct traffic, and we've already seen that today.
And this is an area of concern for Jess Silva. Brooklyn FC's goalkeeper, Nico Purcell, is down on the ground, seeing something attended to on her lower region. We've mentioned so often the goalkeeper battle between Sydney Martinez and Nico Purcell. Jess Silva spoke about being blessed in the goalkeeper union department, that both goalkeepers bring different attributes, but she wanted to make sure that the #1 jersey was picked every single game week. This week it was Purcell's, but right now we'll get a look, Haley, at what occurred to see Nico Purcell down on the ground.
And it kind of just looks like almost a hamstring there. She grabs, maybe something happened before that run of play that she kind of just was dealing with and holding on to the hamstring. But to your point, a soft tissue injury in a situation where the goalkeeper position has been very fluid this year. It's good to know that you have Sydney Martinez available, but 28 minutes into a game that's been very back and forth and your goalkeeper has been called upon multiple times already, it's something for us and for Brooklyn to keep our eye on.
It does look like maybe distribution had been an element that was a little weak early on, and I just wonder if she's feeling something which has led to some of those wayward goal kicks that we've seen. Dallas Trinity FC, expect to see them press high and take strikes right now as Nico Purcell remains on the field of play. And Haley, we're just under half an hour into the game right now, but let's take a peek at your keys to the game and see how well these sides have done on their cues so far.
So I've said it 3 times already, and this game just flipped these because that's what we've seen already on display. But I think when it comes to Dallas, they enjoy playing in that 3-5-2 because it allows them to control the middle.
Hold that thought, Luana Grabias. Grabias into the 18. Grabias squares the ball perfectly. Hold. Just didn't have the legs to get there. Emily Yapel couldn't outrush the goalkeeping of Madison White.
And that leads me to my second point. The key to the game for Brooklyn is to disrupt the play and capitalize, and that's exactly what they do here. That high press, they squish together, they end up getting the turnover, and then defense turns to offense in terms of their transition play. Who was on the backside of this but Luana Grabias playing this perfectly weighted ball into the box. And I just wish that Yapel was a little bit quicker there, but that's exactly what Brooklyn is looking to do in this game.
Jess Silva told us Luana Grabias has worked really hard on her fitness, and I think you're seeing it in the dynamism of her work right now, the way that she's playing, that quick speed in the sprint and the give and go as well. Brooks heads it forward, Thornton, up to Hinson. She'll lay it across to Pace. Pace, through to Hinson. Hinson dispossesses Pantuso. Great work by Sierra Hinson. Stays on her feet, and Purcell clears it up and out of play again. Dallas Trinity FC tried to take that throw quick, and it does look like the referee's just pausing the play for a moment to talk to a Brooklyn FC player and check they're okay. So we get a glance at the band, and I was a former trumpet player.
Oh, there we go.
I like to say it every time there's a band on display. I didn't do the dancing.
Just the play.
Thornton trying to get round the defender, is able to get it back to Mesa. Mesa swings in the cross to the near post. Purcell is just about able to bend her feet and keep that one in play.
And what I love about Sam Meza is that her first touch always takes her to goal. She's always looking to see how she can either create a chance, whether that's for herself or for her teammates, but that first touch is always taking her forward.
You see a free kick pulled back in the end. Brooklyn FC guilty of that. Gear up, Dallas Trinity FC fans. Show your team spirit with exclusive merchandise. Customizable jerseys are available now. Scan the QR code now to shop our latest collection and support the team in style. Be interested to see if it will be a jersey of the #1 or the #2 side in the USL Super League during the winter break. Hill. Couldn't find the splitting pass as Garziano. Garziano distributes wide, and just unable to bend her run was Yapel.
And we haven't talked a lot about Garziano today. You know, not that she hasn't been involved in the game, but she is really a game changer for Brooklyn's side. She's got 4 goals on the season, but even more impressive than her goal scoring is her ability to change the point of attack. And you saw it there. She floats in the middle, but just her ability to turn on a dime, to see the other side of the field and sort of swing the pendulum the opposite way has really been what's impressed me the most about her.
White sends this one forward. It's stepped out the back nicely by Hill. Kroger. Haven't said enough about Sam Kroger so far. Need to get opportunities for her. Pluck is blocked away. Hinton recovers. Pace. A wayward pass. Couldn't find Brooks. Getting a little bit scrappy now as possession not as clean as either two of these head coaches would like, Haley.
And for Pauline McDonald's side, she kind of told us this is what she expected in this game. She said a lot of what they'll have to do is, quote, suffer through this game. And she used the word suffer because they like to hold on to the possession. And a lot of times when you're playing a team like Brooklyn that has that high press, sometimes your possession suffers a little bit. You have to work the ball around a little bit differently. You have to find those channels just a little bit more out of your comfort zone. And so we've seen that a little bit, although they've been holding on to a lot of the possession as this game has gone on.
Thornton finds a splitting pass across to Dorsey. Dorsey puts the ball up to the penalty spot. A bike attempt by Sam Mesa. As the secondary ball coming in will be easy for Purcell to come and recover. Sam Mesa bike would have been quite special of a goal. Let's have a look at how close her attempt was, Haley.
Yeah, I guess the fastest goal in Super League history isn't good enough of an accolade for Sam Mesa. But again, it's all about the confidence, and to be honest, she wasn't that far off. A couple of inches, maybe she times that a little bit differently, and she's making contact. But that's what's been fun about Mesa's development this season is the confidence, and there's nothing more dangerous than a confident player, especially one that's an attacking player too. You just feel good on the ball, off the ball. You know you're making a good impact, and you're contributing in the right way.
Mesa, of course, with all the confidence in the world right now, but emphasizes how she wants to remain humble. She's delighted for the opportunity to be playing consistent minutes week in, week out, and she is thriving right now. And FC throwing the ball down the channel. It's cleared away ahead of Mackenzie George. Given a lot of love to Dallas Trinity, but I think it's also important to shout out the fan base of Brooklyn FC. They're hosting a watch party in Brooklyn right now. Hopefully they've got the sound up at that brewery. As Yapel keeps it in play. Yapel trying to bend round 2 defenders. She does get the run on 1, but then couldn't find the cross. Hinton all the way back to recover. Great work rate by Sierra Hinton.
And that's kind of what she likes to do. She likes to dip back and get herself more involved in the play so that she can distribute otherwise. Again, for Brooklyn, it's a challenging thing to keep their eye on because you never know where she's going to be on the pitch.
It's great to see an attacking player with a defensive work rate as well. It's a good hustle. Finds George. George, couple of step overs. George puts it up towards the back of the 6. Nobody made the run. Instead, it will be Yapel putting it in to an area again. It's flicked forward away by Hannah Davison. Throw into Kroger. Kroger! Diving save by Madison White. So we get a look at this strike in the end. Good technique from Madison White. Pace. Crunching tackle coming in. Double crunching tackle by Pickard, but it's fair. George. Early cross from George. Luana Grabias won't have the run on that one. But a tackle like that from Pickard can really lift your emotions if you're playing for Brooklyn.
And just the physicality of the game, right? I love that the referee is just allowing the play to sort of develop, monitoring, you know, if it gets a little too out of control like we saw with Hinton early on.
Hinton is offside this time. A late flag has the crowd up in arms. the AR decisive in his call.
It's wild that we're seeing Sierra Hinson be called offsides just moments after we just saw her in the defensive third.
She's certainly getting her step count up today. Pluck. One-time volley forward, too easy to control out the back for Dallas Trinity. Weinbrenner. Hasn't been called upon too much defensively. Obviously early days. This is back to Jordan Hardiman, the 17-year-old. Today with a splitting pass forward to Brooks. Brooks dinks it forward, headed clear by Pickard. Brooks back onto it though. Second time forward by Brooks is a charm. She finds Pace. Pace, assessing her options in the box. Pace, step over Glory, and then goes for a strike herself. Pantuso comes through with the header for Brooklyn in the end. Here's Garziano. Garziano, forward to George. Important stab tackle away, finds Mesa. Mesa to Thornton. Here's Dorsey. Dorsey, too little energy on that cross, and it'll be easily cleared out by Pickard.
And I like what Brooklyn has done defensively. They've kind of shifted all of their players back to where they only have Luana Grabia sort of holding in that high position. Everyone else has almost dropped into the midfield. Why? Because that's where Dallas likes to run most of their play. So you're noticing you see a lot of their players sitting in those passing channels. So for Dallas, they're not having as much success with connecting those passes in the middle. It's a really good defensive adjustment, especially when you think about that first 5 minutes when they were relentless, coming through the middle, working it out to the outside.
For all the talk about Brooklyn FC's attack, they've only conceded 8 goals on the season, 6 clean sheets, the best defense in the entire league statistically. So Brooklyn FC not afraid to suffer, and they have done some suffering through the first 88 minutes from the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas.
And it's an interesting, theme within the Super League as well. A lot of the coaches talk about the parity in this league, about you can't get too high, you can't get too low, you can't get too attached with a result because the next game that's on the schedule is just as important as the one before. I think with Brooklyn, and this is no shade to any of the other teams in the league, but I think Brooklyn has really embraced that, right? Coach Silva talked to us about how losing that game to Carolina, it wasn't really a turning point because they weren't having a negative season at that point, but it was a wake-up call. They didn't like how it felt to lose, and so they've really embraced that mantra every game they've gone into.
And in the same vein, just loved how Jess Silva talked about the fact that she doesn't have to keep them humble because that's how they are as players. She's got a great group with a great mindset, professionalism at its finest. Grabias got the nutmeg, but Julia Dorsey able to flick it forward to Hinson. She'll recover with pace. Pace crosses it in, and her cross just not into an area that can really be fruitful for Dallas Trinity FC. Pluck forward to Garziano, and she's fouled. Scarpelli. Brooks is able to dispossess. Mesa lays it off ahead of Thornton. The Super League springs back into action on Saturday, February 8th. Catch Tampa Bay Sun FC taking on Fort Lauderdale United FC in the 2nd edition of the Florida Derby, exclusively on NBC's Peacock Network. I don't know what we're going to do to February, Haley. It's not fair that it's already done. I mean, time flies when you're having fun.
And it's been so special to watch it each and every week. You blink and it's week 18 and you're going into that fall schedule, but and we talk about it a lot, but it just goes to show the dedication of the players, the dedication of the league to make this be a league that you're going to miss over the next couple of weeks.
It's been quite the start to the inaugural USL Super League, and more is to come. Don't forget, expansion sides, growth of the league, more opportunities. It is amazing to be a part of this league as Brooks strikes it. Important deflection away by Kroger. Bravely done. Mesa Early cross deflects off a head of a Brooklyn FC player, and Purcell can't keep it in. Dallas Trinity with their third corner of today's match.
Well, it's good to see Purcell coming out to get that. You can almost tell in her gait that she is struggling with something. I don't want to assume because I'm not a doctor, but you can just tell in some of those moments where she's trying to accelerate, coming off of that right leg does look a little shaky.
Hinson will serve this one in swinging. Hinson a little bit too high over the head of Brooks. Be kept in by Hannah Davison. Davison, a defensive stalwart who hasn't been tested too much against Brooklyn FC in this first half yet. Weinbrenner to Dorsey. Madison White will get a lone touch in goal, and she serves it wide of the mark, out of play for a Brooklyn FC throw.
You can see the sun slowly starting to settle down a little bit, but it is quite difficult on that far side of the pitch just to pick out your passes properly over there, especially down on this side. I know Brooklyn is going to be eager to get to the second half so that they can swap. But we talked about that home field advantage for Dallas, and you're seeing in real time why they've been able to be so successful in part when they play these games early in the day. The sun really has been a factor, I think.
And a beautiful 70-degree day. It's almost Christmas, but you can sunbathe in Dallas right now.
I can count on 3 fingers how many times we have had cold weather in Dallas for Christmas in my 30 years of life. So it's usually like this at this time of year.
As someone from London, I just can't relate, you know? Just can't relate. Madison White has the ball in her hands on the half volley forwards. It's headed out of play by Scarpelli. Is there one last opportunity before the halftime break, or will these two sides continue to be as evenly matched as they have been all season long? Just 3 points separate them in the table as we are in the final match of the fall finale. Brooks chips it forwards, Purcell off her line to come and smother. Brooklyn FC looking to create some attack. It's George. George, tricky customer to handle. Davison does enough, but she does have to touch it out for a deep attacking throw for Brooklyn FC.
I love watching the way George plays ball. She's just so dynamic on or off the ball. The way she makes runs across the back line. She's also very talented on the ball as well, too. I know we haven't seen Davison be called upon a lot to defend in this game, but as George starts to settle in, we've already seen her get some attacks on that back right side.
It'll be so interesting to see the adjustments made at halftime as well, and see if Jess Silva maybe unleashes some reins a little bit and takes some risks going forward more. So it's headed back by Jenna Weinbrenner into the hands of Madison White. Dallas Trinity's backline looked very organized though today, Haley.
Yes, they have been really impressive, and I think what always impresses me about Dallas is their commitment to using the wingback style of play. So we talked about Davison. She plays a lot more offensive sometimes than she does defensively, but the hard part of that position is knowing that you have to be flexible, right? You can be in on the attack and pressing forward, but the minute you lose possession, all of a sudden you've got to flip your switch and get back. So it's been really good. You used the word organized. I think that's a great word to describe just how well they play together.
Grabias can't believe she's been called for a foul there. It was Julia Dorsey getting clipped by the high pressure from the Brazilian. Grabias, a player with 4 goals on the year, a hat-trick 2 games ago. Didn't score in the last 3-0 victory. As George tries to send it forwards. It's headed away by Jenna Weinbrenner. As we take a peek at the stats, there's only been 1 shot on target in the entire match, and that has actually been Brooklyn FC's. 6 shots for Dallas Trinity credited on the stat line. None of them have tested Purcell in goal. How concerning is that for Pauline McDonald?
I don't think too concerning. I think there have been enough moments of brilliance, and Dallas typically plays like a second half team. I think they really lean into those second half adjustments, and they typically come out on the front foot in the second half. So if you're McDonald, I think the conversation in the locker room is, okay, why are we not getting on the end of these? What's not working with that final pass?
We are a minute now into an added 3 minimum. of additional minutes in the first half of action. It was set to be a blockbuster. It hasn't quite led up to that reputation as of yet in terms of goals scored, but tactically, it has been a very intelligently played game of football.
And it's so interesting as we keep our eye on the statistics here. I've been watching just how the possession has flopped back and forth, and just to give some perspective, about 4 minutes ago when I looked down, the possession was dead even at 50-50. And now as we're in the back half of stoppage time here, Dallas Trinity holds 55% of the possession. Brooklyn holds 44. And again, those are just the only examples that I'm using. That number has fluctuated so much, but it tells you just how close of a match this has been, even without the goals.
Just takes a moment of brilliance, though, to separate these two sides. Yapel to George on the opposite side this time. Mackenzie George to Luana Grabias. Grabias lays it back to Pickard. They cross in towards the hanging Yapel. Scarpelli. Unable to get on the end of that cross was Jess Garziano.
But I like the patience there from Brooklyn. Those types of situations are always difficult because you just want to get in the best position possible to get a shot off here. You see Katie George, she's looking, trying to create her own space, so she dips it off to Grabias. Grabias can't find an opening spot, so they kick it over to the other side. Just the patience here, even this ball played in, I imagine they probably want a better finish, a better touch on there from Garziano.
So we saw some magic from Sam Mesa. Crowd have come accustomed to those Mesa moments that just make your jaw drop. Dorsey. The target of that one was Hinson. She was unable to get on the end of it. Sarah Hinson just keeling over a little bit after that initial challenge. Just one to keep your eye on. She'll be delighted to get into the halftime locker room, I'm sure.
It's been a very physical first half for Hinson, both her delivering the physicality and then a couple of fouls along the way too, but just very physical play from both of these teams, and so it's appropriate, I think, that we're at 0-0 at the break.
The final half whistle is blown. 45 minutes remaining here, but across the first half of action, 0-0 between the top two sides in USL Super League. Hayley, break it down what you saw in that first half tactically.
Well, it was a brilliant first half of play, I think, from both sides. You saw Dallas come out on the front foot. They were so eager to get in the back of the net. I think, you know, playing at home and leaning into that was really special. But I was really impressed by Brooklyn's ability to settle into the game. We saw them make changes midway through just to adjust defensively. And it's really been a back and forth battle. What I'm curious to see in the second half is, number one, who makes a substitution first? Who's going to be that impact player to come in and make a difference? And ultimately here, the finishing, right? We've seen the build up, but who is going to find the way to get into the back of the net?
It's been a really interesting first 45 minutes of action. Has been a lot of opportunities for Dallas Trinity FC, and part of the reason they've seen opportunities is because of Sierra Hinson's play. Sierra, thank you so much for your time and joining us. We just wanted to ask real quick how you're feeling about that first half of play and Dallas Trinity creating plenty of opportunities.
Follow your spark at UT Southwestern, the future of medicine.
UT Southwestern Medical Center, ranked by U.S. News and World Report as the #1.
Thank you for your time, Sierra Hinson. We appreciate you joining us. Well, it has been quite an interesting battle between the #1 and #2 side in USL Super League. Dallas Trinity FC in a 0-0 draw with Brooklyn FC. Some drama, but not quite the fireworks we expected. We'll get into it after this quick break.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked bebidas.
Once the game kicks off, the hype doesn't matter anymore. Your follower count means nothing. Your resume is irrelevant. What matters is the moment, the game, the crest on the front of your jersey, the people you play for. Are you going to make history? Are you going to save the day? Are you going to score a hat trick, break some ankles, or give a kid the thrill of a lifetime? This is what the movement is all about. These moments that matter. The USL Super League.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
This is UT Southwestern Medical Center, and this is where a spark happens. This is the teamwork that fuels it, the mentors who shape it. And this is where it comes together, with this care team connecting the dots, all leading up to this moment right here at UT Southwestern, where discoveries change lives. And this spark is just the beginning. Follow your spark at UT Southwestern, the future of medicine today.
Relay Human Cloud makes it easy. Relay Staff Augmentation Model takes the risks and hassles out of global teams. Top talent, fast productivity gains, and up to 75% in labor savings.
Relay Human Cloud. Unlock growth through global teams.
Move freely and feel the support with compression Z leggings designed for ultimate comfort and recovery. Our premium compression wear helps relieve muscle soreness, promotes better circulation, and supports your every movement. Made with breathable, moisture-wicking fabric that stays odor-resistant and keeps you cool no matter how hard you push. Experience the difference with Compression Z. Use code Trinity20 to get your 20% off at www.compressionz.com.
We're back in Dallas, Texas for the full finale. Dallas Trinity FC versus Brooklyn FC. The number 1 and number 2 sides coming into this game. And no surprise, they're locked in a deadlock. Too close to be cut right now. Jessica Jarman, Haley Sutton, delighted to be here with you. And as we get to the wrap-up of the full schedule, it's time to look at the news and notes. The spring schedule, we're already looking forward to it. February 8th, where Tampa Bay Sun hosts Fort Lauderdale. And Fort Lauderdale, Haley, have Golden Boot leader right now, Addie McCain.
Well, and Addie's just been so impressive this season, the way she finds the back of the net. She's really changed the tide for her Fort Lauderdale team as of late. You mentioned it. She's got 8 goals at this point. She has led the race the entire season. I'm curious to see what she does in the second half.
And Brooklyn FC, of course, on winning ways right now. 5 consecutive wins, but right now in a draw with Dallas Trinity FC. We'll see if they can make it number 6 in the second half. There has already been one game of our full finale. That's Lexington SC with a 3-0 victory over DC Power FC. Talk about finishing strong for Lexington SC.
Yeah, and that was a win that they desperately needed. I think Lexington, things has just not gone in their way this season. So to come out in the final game of the fall slate to get a 3-0 victory, a shutout, and a lot of goals, that's what you like to see going into the break.
There will be 2 more games following us. Tampa Bay Sun FC will take on Spokane Zephyr at 7 p.m. and then 7:30 p.m. will, of course, be Fort Lauderdale hosting Carolina Ascent. Well, Boots has been more busy than both goalkeepers in this game so far because we're in a 0-0 draw right now. Dallas Trinity FC facing Brooklyn FC. Will the reins be released in the second half of action? We'll find out shortly. It's the picturesque Trinity Bridge in Dallas, Texas, the home of Dallas Trinity FC, who are currently in a 0-0 draw with Brooklyn FC. As we get a look, Jessica Chum and Hayley Sutton, at how we got here in this 0-0 draw. Not too many highlights, but this moment from Mesa almost had us off our seats.
Yeah, we thought this was going to be the moment. It all started with Sierra Hinson's initial shot, but this was inches away from dipping in. The awareness to know where you're at in front of net. And Dallas was at this point saying, yeah, we're locked in offensively. We're ready to go.
The momentum, though, always ready to switch. And quick off the counter, Brooklyn FC's trademark move. And it was Luana Grabias almost pouncing.
Yeah, that high press into transition play has been Brooklyn's bread and butter all season. And I love this decision from Grabias just to lay it in there nicely. Maybe a little bit more pace would have helped the trailing player there. But the moments are there, and you mentioned it, the momentum swinging either direction. That's what we expect out of both of these teams.
It was Emily Apel unable to finish the cross. The statistics, as they stand, don't make the most beautiful looking for Dallas Trinity FC. They'll be very encouraged by the 8 shots, but disappointed with the conversion rate with one of those on target.
And we talked about it during the broadcast. This is the suffering that Pauline McDonald was talking about, right? When your game plan isn't always able to be implemented, it's what you can do on the fly that's going to be the difference in this one. So when you think about holding on to the possession, you're creating those shots, the rest will fall, and hopefully the goals can come too.
Well, Brooklyn FC have scored 6 goals in their last 2 games. We'll see if they can add more to their tally. Dallas Trinity FC right now looking to give their fans something to cheer about. Second half is coming up next.
Maybe if there's another hydration break.
Welcome back to the Cotton Bowl. Jessica Charm and Hayley Sutton, our entire crew, welcome you to USL Super League on Peacock. Dallas Trinity FC right now in a 0-0 draw with Brooklyn FC. Let's have a look at how these two teams faced up last time they saw each other back in September, Hayley. And it was Brooklyn FC looking to be dominant in this game.
Yeah, and I think they really just came out as the team that wanted to win a little bit more. I mean, this strike here from Graziano is just spectacular. You can't really write it up any better than this. But I think this was the early stages of what we have now seen Brooklyn become at this point. They are lethal. Multiple players getting in on the score sheet, the relentlessness in front of net, all of those qualities that we've seen become their personality traits down the stretch. It came during this portion of the season back in September when they were finding their identity. Dallas, on the other side, I think is a much different team now than they were during this game too. And Coach Pauline McDonald talked to us about that, the transition of how the season has gone.
We did see a substitution come in for Dallas Trinity. It's Ubagagu entering the field of play. She replaces Rachel Pace. Ubagagu, who of course missed the last game against Tampa Bay due to injury, is back into selection. She'll bring electric pace and excitement in the flanks. She of course leads the whole USL Super League in crosses. We're back underway, 45 minutes remaining for both these sides in their full schedule. Let's see how they pan out for both Brooklyn FC and Dallas Trinity FC. And Hayley, we talked a little bit about it off air. Just wonder how long it's going to take for Brooklyn FC to maybe play a little bit more aggressively.
And I think a lot of that is going to depend on Dallas. And I know that most of these teams don't want to, we want to play our game plan, not adjust to the other team, is the big talking point. But Ubagagu coming into the game already, a massive impact.
Instant impact from Ubagagu. It's that early cross we talked about, a driven cross, is eventually pushed away by Purcell.
Is number 33, Rachel Pace.
Chioma Ubagagu brings pedigree of the finest. Has been around some of the biggest clubs in women's soccer, including recently Tottenham Hotspur, and also spent time with Arsenal back in the 2016 season as well. Graziano. Brooklyn look to create an attack of their own. A long switch over the top is headed clear. Be controlled in the middle of the park by Dallas Trinity FC. Mesa. And what a asset it is to have a player like Ubagagu coming off the bench fresh. You got to wonder, talk about Brooklyn FC unleashing the reins, while seeing Ubagagu on the opposite side doesn't help that task.
And I'm interested to see if there are any in-game adjustments to address the left side of the field. We saw a lot with Dallas Trinity in that first half, really working the right side of the field with Allie Thornton over there, trying to fill that role of what Ubagagu does. So I'm just curious to see if Brooklyn is going to apply more pressure maybe to the left side of the field. They already kind of shrank the field, putting a lot of players in the middle portion of the field, but just something to keep an eye on as the game goes on.
Here's Mesa. Mesa, little pull back, and finds the overlapping run far side. It's Dorsey putting the ball back towards Thornton. Graziano forced to head it away. Brooklyn FC can't create the counter as a loose touch on the far side goes out of play for a Dallas Trinity throw. It is, of course, at the Cotton Bowl. Hat-trick for Heroes match, which is celebrating all of the incredible healthcare workers in the state of Texas. We'll see if they get something to celebrate in today's game. Thornton can't connect cleanly with the strike, and it goes into the hands of Purcell. Purcell tried to volley it forward quickly. Falls to Brooks. Mesa. Couldn't find Hinson this time. It was easily controlled by Kelsey Hill defensively. This one has started similarly to the first half of action, Hayley, with Dallas Trinity FC on the front foot.
And I was just thinking about that too, just sort of surveying the field, seeing what looked similar, what looked different. But you're right, it's again kind of a chess match almost. Even with just one substitution, it feels like these teams are still trying to get a feel for what they're facing.
It was Ubagagu with a cross in. Took a hop, and Hinson wasn't able to get there ahead of Purcell. Pickard. Pickard puts in a beautiful ball over to the far side. It's Yapel. She'll start things back. Scarpelli to Yapel. And then a crunching tackle comes in. Referee waves it away. It was Weinbrenner with the slide challenge. Messer will capitalize on the space left behind. Messer has Hinson ahead and finds her. Sierra Hinson drags wide off of the deflection. Dallas Trinity have a corner.
And I almost thought they waved Hinson offside. I was going to be a little bit upset because of how well she timed her run in the box there. But we talked about this at the beginning of the game, Jessica, just the ref really allowing this to be a more physical game, that slide tackle challenge that turns into the counterattack, and now we're seeing Dallas rewarded with a corner kick.
It's good to give some credit to Gerald Flores, our center referee of the game, for allowing the match to flow. As Dallas Trinity see Ubagagu on this set piece. Ubagagu deep towards the back post. And the last contact comes off of the defense of Scarpelli and out for a second consecutive Trinity corner kick.
You see Ubagagu making her way to the opposite corner. Coach McDonald is going to make sure they get every bit of her skill set on the field in this second half. And it's really a benefit when you have a player that can take corners from either side and the delivery is so consistent. That's what she brings to this game.
This time it will be an in swinger. Ubagagu serves it in, headed down, and just missing the mark was Hardiman.
Hardiman, the Academy player, good to see her making a name for herself, so young and still being so impactful. But again, just a beautiful service from Ubagagu, the in swinger. The header goes just wide.
Hardiman, just 17 years of age, a US Youth national team player with the U17s, getting an opportunity to play with professional footballers, but has opted to, as of now, preserve her eligibility as a commit to the University of Virginia, the Academy player. Such a good product to have in USL Super League, giving those players an opportunity to play at the top level, Haley, while still having the opportunity to continue in college.
Well, and you think about the way college athletics has changed over the last 5 years, the implementation of NIL, the transfer portal, all of those things players like Hardiman are experiencing on the professional level.
Hardiman getting the opportunity today to start and has done an impressive job, not missed a beat. And here's a ball forwards. Quick off her line is Purcell to negate any real threat coming in over from Dorsey.
And it's interesting, that was Kroger coming back to help defend there with Purcell. We haven't really seen her offensive skill set on display in this game, but really defensively, she's been very involved. I talked about in the first half how Brooklyn almost dropped more players back so that they would have numbers in the midfield, but she's really taken on a different role today, it feels like.
We've seen Sam Kroger probably deeper than we've seen her in any match so far in a Brooklyn FC jersey. George trying to get on the end of the delivery. It's out of play. Hannah Davison will see it out of play. Every Wednesday, listen to USL Super League Game Week, a deep dive into all things Super League with host Marion Crowder and Anna Whitty. Follow along all season long on the Sirius XM app. So we see the referee blow his whistle, trying to get things underway. Wants Madison White to chop with the goal kick. White does now send it towards the halfway line. Pantuso starts it back to Purcell, who does look like she's more comfortable than we saw, but this time, again, a wayward clearance.
Not the clearance that you want there, but it is a positive that you're seeing the pace on those passes. I know in the first half there was just a couple of the goal kicks that, you know, without being rude, they just weren't up to par in terms of what you see on a goal kick. So good to see that she's feeling a little bit better, at least from the eye standpoint, the visual standpoint, I should say.
Well, it is a Healthcare Heroes Appreciation Night, and I'm sure the athletic training staff were working their heroics for Brooklyn FC's Purcell in goal as well. She'll get another opportunity from the set piece now to drive forward this goal kick. She'll play it short instead. Grabias Gets on the end of the ball and nutmeg and a cynical drag back. Referee seeing if there was an advantage. There wasn't, and this should see our first yellow card of the game, and does. Grabias was all but away, and a tug on the jersey came in from Dallas Trinity FC. And it will lead to our first yellow card of the game.
I believe that was the Academy player Hardiman there, but I got to be honest with you, a one-on-one opportunity with Luana Grabias when it's just you and the goalkeeper and green grass in front of her, I might make the same defensive play too. She's lethal. That's a guaranteed goal for Luana Grabias if you don't slow her up. So it definitely deserved a card. But what are you going to do? She's one of the best players in the league.
Felt like a very mature decision from the 17-year-old to understand the better place on the field to foul Grabias. It's Hardman in the book now. Free kick will be launched forward by Kroger towards the edge of the 6. It's headed clear.
The yellow card has been issued to Dallas Trinity player.
And the clearance coming from Hinson. Blocked off the boots of Scarpelli, and Dallas Trinity FC keep possession. We saw a sub for Pauline McDonald, of course, in Ubagagu, but you have to wonder when Jess Silva might go to her bench for Brooklyn FC as well.
And I know that we haven't seen any goals in this game yet, but when it comes to Brooklyn FC, one of their more unique qualities, I would say, is the fact that they've got goal scorers all across their front line. Dana Sheriff, who's on the bench currently, has 3 goals on the team, and so they just have so many players who can come in and make an impact. You just wonder, to your point, when we'll maybe see some of those come in, if the soccer and the energy of this game stays similar to this.
The birthday girl, Isabel Cox, also has 2 goals and has taken the most shots on the team. So Jess Silva with plenty of attacking options on the bench, should she want to try and push the deadlock further. Reminder that a draw would be enough for Brooklyn to remain on top of the table. Dallas Trinity would really have to get their shooting boots on in the remainder of this match in order to switch the goal deficit.
And listen, we've seen it from Dallas before. Remember that Lexington game where they were trailing 2-0 going into the final few minutes of the game, and they ended up winning that one 3-2. So there's potential there for the game to be turned on its heels. I think the only problem for Dallas is that Brooklyn can also do the same thing.
And don't forget, Brooklyn have only conceded 8 goals all season long. They have been fantastic defensively. Mesa, square to Ubagagu. Ubagagu trying to round Pantuso, gets onto the loose ball. Ubagagu can't get there ahead of Pickard. Brooks to Thornton. Thornton drives the cross. Is kept in by Hinson. Kroger flicks it away, and ping-ponging around now Dorsey, and eventually the ball is cleared. Grabias thought she was fouled. Referee shakes his head. Mesa to Hinson. Great turn by Hinson. Hinson trying to get through 2 defenders. In the end, it's well dealt with by Kelsey Hill.
A little bit of fitness coming into play there as we've seen the play continue here. High intensity couple of minutes.
Mesa overlapping is Dorsey and just loses her run there. Well, that was quite the phase of play from both these sides, frantic as can be in the full finale.
And that's what makes this matchup so spectacular, is there's moments of lulls where both of these teams are trying to be a little bit more tactical. They're trying to find what the best option is. But as we just saw from Dallas there, sometimes the best option is just pinging it around until you can get that final shot off. I do know that fitness for both of these teams has been a conversation that the coaches have really tried to work through this season, making sure that they have players who aren't playing too many minutes, who are getting enough time out on the field. So a little bit of fitness playing into account there, as I think a couple of the Dallas players got a little tired.
It's interesting to think about the fact that they won't play again until February, so you have to think you want to leave everything out there on the pitch today. It's a long ball over the top. Trickles out of play for a goal kick. Madison White hasn't been too busy in goal today. The goalkeeper that came from Racing Louisville. He's only had to make the 1 save so far in between the sticks for Dallas Trinity. We do see another sub coming, and yet again it's Pauline McDonald making the decision. Celie Strawn, another Academy product, enters the pitch, has scored a goal already, and actually made her debut as a professional in the 2-0 loss against Brooklyn. So she'll be looking for some revenge today.
And I love the substitution from Paula McDonald there to take off a defensive player and bring on a Sealy Strong, a young, offensive-minded player who can maybe bring a little energy and a little bit of life to this field. I'm curious to see where she ends up settling in terms of positioning and where she's going to play. She typically plays attacking midfield or even up on that front line.
Ubagagu starts it back with Weinbrenner. It's up into Hinson, who's dropped a little deeper to your point. Mesa across to Strawn now. Strawn, confident touches early on, ready to make an impact. As Ubagagu crosses it in, Thornton, and then unable to connect is Mesa on the back post.
What a ball into the box from Ubagagu. And again, I know we've talked a lot about her in the second half, but it's because she's such a game changer. Her ability to pick this pass out on the backside. Sam Mesa came trailing in there. I know she probably wanted to have a little bit better contact there, but that's what Ubagagu brings to this game. She stretches the field, and her soccer IQ, so strong.
Big step from Davison. And one of those forward runs, goes for goal herself. Takes a skip ahead of Purcell, but she'll grab it. Grabias. First touch is good. Now she heads forward. Grabias splits two defenders. Davison does enough. Joined by Weinbrenner on the interception as Weinbrenner finds Mesa. Mesa, nice pass forward into Weinbrenner. And Thornton goes down in the center circle. Free kick, Dallas Trinity.
I'm curious as well, and you kind of sparked my interest here when talking about the results and what it all means going into that spring season. For Brooklyn, they're kind of in the driver's seat in terms of the results will favor them more likely than not. And so it's kind of giving the sense, and we talked about if they'll be brave offensively. It almost feels like they know they don't have to be. And again, not a dig on how they're playing, but it just feels like they are more comfortable being more defensive and not allowing Dallas to play their game plan as opposed to being that strong offensive team that we're used to seeing.
Sam Mesa versus Sam Kroger, the battle that everyone's been looking forward to seeing. This time Mesa wins the duel. Hinson to Thornton. Across to Strawn. And Strawn can't keep it in play. To your point, Haley, it's perhaps looking like Brooklyn FC is playing not to lose versus to win.
Yes, and on the flip side of that for Dallas, it definitely feels like they know they need a result in this one and not just a draw. They need a win. I think bringing in Sealy Strawn as opposed to supplementing the back line again tells me that Pauline McDonald wants to get forward. She wants to have that balance on either side in those wide channels, and they really want to get back to their game plan.
And also to protect Jordan Hardiman, who picked up the yellow. Don't want a young player, 17 years old, to get herself in any trouble. Stay up to date with the USL Super League. Sign up for the Super League newsletter. Get news about your favorite team and stories from around the league delivered directly to your inbox weekly. Sign up at uslsuperleague.com/newsletter. Through the hour point now, and still in a 0-0 draw. It's almost like we had the curse of the commentator saying that this one was destined for goals galore, and unfortunately it's been the defensives that have shone so far today.
And it's interesting because we tried to speak it into existence, whether it was in those coaching meetings or even just between the two of us or talking with our producer. We really were trying to manifest those goals. But if you ask both of the coaches, this is kind of how they expected it to go. They expected a more defensive battle. They expected things to be a little even keel in here. And in a league where most of these games are decided by one goal, it's kind of feeling like we're trending towards that.
Grabias, could this be the moment? Luana Grabias trying to get round the defender, goes down. Jenna Weinbrenner uses her body. I think the referee said goal kick as he shakes his head away. Weinbrenner does enough.
I saw the referee put his hand up, and for a moment I thought that he was giving a penalty kick, and you know, obviously that shifts the game tremendously, but Grabias has been working so hard in her 1v1 play, and it's just good defensive effort from Weinbrenner there, going in on the 50-50 challenge.
Isabel Cox will be unleashed from the bench. She has 2 goals so far in USL Super League, but has taken the most shots on the team, and in fact is celebrating a birthday this weekend, so interesting to see if Isabel Cox can get a bit of a gift today. She replaces Emily Yapel. Mesa to Strawn. Sealy Strawn was offside.
Just barely. I was more enamored by the ball by Sam Meza and her ability. I think she used the outside of the foot to play that ball through. But that's the trade-off you get when you bring in a younger player. The positives is that they're young and they're full of energy and full of life, and they're typically pretty eager. But the flip side of that is the timing and the experience and the chemistry of just settling in. And I think Sealy just a little early there.
Sealy Strawn, though, making the right runs, just needs to time them a tad bit better. She's had a great start to life in the Super League, though, already off of the score mark. Committed to play at UNC, of course, the current college champions in NCAA Division I. A legacy club, to say the least. Pantuso, back to Purcell. Purcell's kick was dispossessed by Brooks. Hannah Davison will take the throw-in. We hear the drums urging Dallas Trinity, the home side, to try and find a way forward. Hinson.
And again, Jess, look how many players Brooklyn has dropped back into their defensive third.
Strawn puts the ball in. Ubagagu can't quite get on the end of it.
It's for moments like that when you have a player like Ubagagu, or even just some of these other attacking players, Hinson, Amber Brooks holding in the defensive midfield there. Brooklyn has dropped so many players back to sort of congest in the middle.
Pickard. Her ball is under hit as Davison tried to get a step on and does. Thornton. Haven't perhaps seen enough of Ali Thornton today.
It's been a difficult game, I think, for her to get involved in. I think because her role is different today. You know, normally when I've seen Ali Thornton, she's kind of played similarly to how Sierra Hinson has been, you know, kind of that target player where she's on cleanup duty, where, you know, she's scoring those second and third chance opportunities. And I think today she's been a lot more on the ball. She's sort of served more on the outside of the field as opposed to being in the center.
Thornton will get the ball from Strawn, but it's overhit again.
And she's been in those moments, right? I just think that typically she's the one doing the finishing, maybe not always the one setting up the chances. So just a little bit different role for her. She's still been very involved, but to your point, trying to find the back of the net is what they really need in this game. And when your top goal scorer is struggling, it kind of is a little bit of a concern.
It was interesting because in our conversation with head coach Jess Silver of Brooklyn FC, she said, we just want the best team to win. And it almost feels like a draw right now is the result between the 2 best teams neutralizing their threat. It's a long ball forward for Luana Grabias to chase. She has players in the box. Grabias, heavy touch forward and great goalkeeping. Madison White, sharp off her line to smother.
And that's a much more difficult save than really anyone will give Maddie White credit for. It's so challenging as a goalkeeper because you have to make so many decisions in such a short period of time. In that instance particularly, Grabias' long touch was because she wanted to accelerate and get in on goal. So if you are Maddie White in the net, you have to decide, am I going to come out and get that ball, or am I going to wait and hope that the 1v1 goes in my favor? So for White to come out and get that ball, it's very brave.
Well, Haley Sutton, you just got invited to the goalkeeper union.
Ah, there we go. Goalkeepers matter too.
We love to see the protection of the goalkeeper on the field. Great work by Madison White, who's looking to preserve her 6th clean sheet of the season. Strawn. Squares the ball to Mesa. Mesa switching it over. Chested down. Well done by Ubagagu. Hinson to Mesa. Messer to Strawn. And it's all the way back to Dorsey. Patient possession from Dallas Trinity. Messer looking to wind wound two defenders. Still with Sam Messer. Dorsey picks her head up. Dorsey puts in a good ball. Ubagagu heads it down wide of the mark.
And you saw the disappointment there from Ubagagu. She knew she had a wide open look on net, and the finish unfortunately let her down. Sam Messer's having an incredible game, by the way, but all the time that Julia Dorsey had to serve this ball in, and Ubagagu just not able to direct, had a couple of bodies in front of her as well. This is what makes me excited, though, Jess, as Inzi Broussard comes into the game. She is such a game changer for Dallas, and for Sierra Hinson, making that swap, I think, is going to be very impactful.
Inzi Broussard, who struggled with injuries this season, missed 7 games due to an injury, gets an opportunity now into the match. There's also a double substitution coming in for Brooklyn FC. Dana Sheriff will come in to action, as will Hope Breslin. Dana Sheriff, of course, had a goal as a substitute last time out. Messer. There's a big read. Heading forward into the forward line now. George. Trying to get around the tight defense of Davison. And George is able to earn a corner, much to the distress of Hannah Davison.
It's a good bit of play from both players, I think, there. Again, the referee just sort of allowing the play to unfold. It's been physical, but not overly physical. I think it's really been nice just to let these two teams showcase what they do best. And you saw it there, the duel between two of the best players on the field.
Sam Kroger stands over this possession from the corner kick. Kroger will swing it in. Sam Kroger into the hands of Madison White. Fantastic goalkeeping.
And the reaction of the crowd says it all. I just talked about how brave you have to be sometimes when you're standing between the pipes. And this right here is the embodiment of it. You see so many players in front of Madison White, and yet she comes out, she high points the ball, secures it safely, and then restarts the play for her team.
George gets it wide to Breslin. Breslin drives it in. It's cleared away. And Messer will get on the end of it. Messer with a rare miscue in front of Sam Kroger. Will be distributed wide now to Pickett. Pantuso. There's a driven cross looking for George. George chests it down, and the handball will be called against Mackenzie George. Gear up, Dallas Trinity FC fans. Show your team spirit with exclusive merchandise. Customizable jerseys are available now. Scan the QR code now to shop our latest collection and support the team in style. Pickard up to George, and Breslin controls. Far side switch for Scarpelli. Scarpelli heading forwards. Couple of step overs, nicely done by Cox. It's cleared away though, and Celie Strawn will carry. Strawn plays it forward to Thornton. She'll wait it up to Broussard, and Broussard is taken down. Free kick, Dallas Trinity.
And for Enzi Broussard, that's what she brings to the table. Just not only a set of fresh legs, but her willingness and her freeness to just go in on challenges here. She understands that her team needs a goal. So coming into this pass here, just a little bit of a challenge there from Garziano physically on Broussard.
This will be a dangerous opportunity for Dallas Trinity FC to swing in a set piece. It's Amber Brooks who had an assist on an own goal from a free kick in the 2-0 victory over Tampa Bay Sun last weekend. Brooks has plenty of time to think about where she wants to put it. Amber Brooks serves it forward, falls to Thornton. Mesa goes for goal herself onto the roof of the net. Sam Mesa has been cooking, but just hasn't had the dessert yet.
Oh my goodness, the recipe is so close, Jessica, it's so close.
Where are the eggs?
But listen, this is what makes Sam Mesa so dangerous. You see here, Allie Thornton laying the ball off, but every time Sam Mesa gets the ball and she's remotely close to the net, she's going to take a strike. And it's always so accurate. It's right there. It's right on the money. It's just a matter of if it falls and gravity and all the things that we can't control in this beautiful game.
Her technique just so impressive. Said that she didn't have the money for private lessons, so she honed herself on the streets. Azubagagu rounds a defender. It's blocked away by Pickard. And the resources Sam Mesa had was going outside and getting the touches on, and she credits that to the way that she's been able to develop her game and get so silky with the ball at her feet. Such a great story.
Just think about all the best players in the world on the international stage and on the club stage. That's where all of these players really learn. That's where you grow your passion. It is, you know, how bad do you want it? You can't afford the lessons? Okay, let's go outside and kick the ball against the wall. Let's grab my brother and we're volleying back and forth. Those small moments carry you through your career, and I'm sure at the time she didn't look at it as this is taking me one step closer to being a professional, but I can imagine that now during her training sessions, that's what she thinks about. Okay, like I need to be doing this work individually, and it's just become a part of her game plan.
It's an amazing interview on SiriusXM Game Week where you can hear Sam Mesa talk all about the way that she developed as a player. Here's Brooklyn FC heading forward through Breslin. Across to Mackenzie George. George, defended by Davison. George couldn't get past the brick wall that is Davison, and it's out for a corner kick.
And I know we've talked a lot about the Sam versus Sam battle in the midfield, but I have really enjoyed watching Davison and George go head-to-head. It's really been a tactical battle. Davison, I think, in the second half has really had the advantage, but in the first, it was all George really getting down that right side.
Sam Kroger's last corner went in towards the back post and led to a great catch from Madison White. What will she do here? Kroger swings this one in under the post. It's into the back of the net. And it's Isabel Cox with the touch into the back of the net. The birthday girl has her birthday goal, and Brooklyn FC continue to soar.
Well, I feel like you spoke that into existence and you set that up perfectly. No better birthday gift than getting a crucial and pivotal goal in the fall finale. And I love that it came from the substitute, Isabel Cox. First of all, it's a brilliant ball delivered into the box there from Kroger. And we've been talking about her effectiveness. Look at the pace. Look at the pace on this ball. All she has to do is redirect it. And even to her surprise, it finds the back of the net. We've talked about it all game long. This league has been decided by one goal as the season has gone on. Could this be the difference maker? We'll have to wait and see, but certainly right now feels that way. A massive, massive goal for Cox.
Isabel Cox with her third goal of the USL Super League season, and this one will taste extra sweet. Brooklyn FC right now, as things stand, on their way to make it 6 wins in a row to finish out the full component of the USL Super League schedule. Oh, the magic that Jess Silver has worked in Brooklyn.
And she's got to be feeling so great right now. And I know that when you talk to the coaches and, you get the coaches speak of, we're just trying to take it one game at a time, or, we're just focused on the match in front of us. But I think Jess Silva, to your point earlier, has really done a good job of making sure that the girls stay humble. And they do that a lot on their own too, but just making sure that they're staying in the moment. So even though it's a 1-0 game and they're on their way to finishing the season at the top of the table, they know that there's still work to be done. There's still 20 minutes left in this game and anything can happen.
Dallas Trinity FC fans want the inside scoop? Sign up for our newsletter, receive the latest news, merchandise promotions, and exclusive updates. Scan the QR code now to join. 12 minutes plus stoppage time coming for Dallas Trinity to fight back and protect their unbeaten record at the Cotton Bowl. With 3-0-3 coming into this game, as things stand, would be heading for their first defeat on home soil. It's funny because, Hayley, we go back to talks of momentum. And Dallas Trinity FC had moments where they had dominated with momentum, but just weren't able to find the go-ahead goal.
And that's the hard part and the cruel part, if you will, about this beautiful game, is that you can do everything right except for that final finish. And then when you're playing a team like Brooklyn, who can finish, it's tough.
George lays it ahead to Sheriff. The flag is raised against Dana Sheriff.
I think the positive side here, if you're Pauline McDonald and Dallas Trinity, is that you understand that this is a position you've been in before. It's a 1-0 deficit with plenty of time still left to play. I think we'll start to see the urgency tick up a little bit more, maybe see some more of those patches of momentum that we saw earlier, but it's going to come in the attacking third for Dallas. They've done everything right up to this point. They just haven't been able to find the finish.
Fascinatingly enough, that was only Brooklyn FC's second headed goal of the season. Alison Pantuso had the only one coming into this game. They haven't been dominant in the air. Maybe that's why Isabel Cox was quite as surprised as she was in the reaction.
And she was very surprised too. I think almost disoriented because of the way the ball came in and how it came off of her head. But that's a great point too. And I think it's interesting as well when we saw Maddie White make that beautiful save on the corner kick before where she high pointed the ball so well. I think in that moment, the goal just caught everybody off guard.
Brooks, a veteran player that will be urging her side to regain control. Strawn. Forward to Thornton with a little give and go. Strawn will receive the ball. Strawn rounding the defender and sticking with it. Celie Strawn starts it back with Dorsey. And then it's cleared away by Garziano. Only as far as Brooks. Brooks will linger that one into the air. Pantuso clears it away. Mesa was shaping up for a volley. Instead has to start it back with Brooks. Strawn, great ball to Dorsey. Dorsey takes a strike and Purcell down to her right, collapses and thankfully recovers.
Well, it's been quite the experience for Purcell as this game has gone on. If you remember early in that first half, we were a little bit nervous that she was dealing with an injury, but it's been so good just to see her sort of shake that off and settle into the game. She's been called to make some important saves in this game too. I don't think she's been asked to make, a game-saving save, but she's been important in those big moments. So it's good to see her not only healthy and out on the pitch, but also keeping her team in this one as well.
May have to do something here because Broussard is chasing it down. Broussard sees the ball stabbed away by a great tackle by Alison Pantuso. Don't miss out, Dallas Trinity FC fans. The chase for the title continues this spring. Be part of DTFC's inaugural season with our next home match on February 15th against Tampa Bay Sun. Scan the QR code for tickets. Just saw that ball struck away as it's chipped in and taken down by Broussard, who goes to ground, probably looking for it just a tad bit.
And you saw the referee hold up his hand. He said, "No, ma'am, get up and let's continue play."
Ubagagu, and going to down again is Dallas Trinity. Looking to the referee with thankful hearts, but nothing there. As we get a look back at these fouls, Hayley, what are your thoughts on the decision from the referee?
Listen, I admire as an attacking player, anytime you get contact in the box, you have to go down. It's like a requirement, right, of strikers. However, I do also like the referee waving that off, saying, no, this is not a foul. Even this second opportunity, just a bit of physical play, I think, from that Brooklyn back line.
Weinbrenner, back to White. Gotta say, the Cotton Bowl faithful has been really brilliant with the atmosphere they've brought. I do believe they have rumble sticks that are creating quite the atmosphere.
Lots of noise at the Cotton Bowl. You've got the rumble sticks, you've got the band and the trumpets and the drum line playing as well too. We saw the mascot at halftime, Boots.
It's a party in Texas, right? Interesting to see Dallas Trinity possessing the ball calmly. Not the same sense of urgency, wanting to create the best opportunity they can as Strawn looking to split two defenders for Broussard. And this time she goes down again. The linesman was the closest to it. The crowd believed there was a penalty. Referee signaling right now mutual contact. Big decision coming from Gerald Flores for the no call.
Yeah, just taking another look at it again. It's Enzi Broussard. We know she's not afraid to put her body on the line, but again, I just think a little more to this one than we saw in the last replay. However, given how the referee has called this game, I am not surprised that he didn't give this call. We've seen a lot of physicality, some slide tackles, some 50-50 chances. And I think, too, you have to think about the moment, right? When you give that call, as we see a yellow card assessed there to the bench, you give that PK, and then the momentum of the game changes. You're potentially looking at a 1-1 game instead of a 1-0, and that's not to say that if a penalty wasn't awarded, it wasn't merited, but just some of the things that you have to think about as the referee.
That was the assistant coach for Dallas Trinity FC receiving the yellow card after that no call from Gerald Flores. Ubagagu in the box. Ubagagu breaks free. Ubagagu wants the advantage to be called, but this time the referee blows his whistle. The foul on Gracie Bryan will set up what is a very tasty-looking set-piece opportunity, but you understand Ubagagu's frustration that the advantage wasn't played here.
And just as we give praise for the no call, I wish that this would have been awarded the advantage. I understand the call. It is a foul there. But Ubagagu has the ball at her feet. She's right there. It's a 1v1 opportunity, and I think, unfortunately, the referee had already committed to blowing his whistle. There's only so much you can do, but man.
Ubagagu stands over this one, along with Amber Brooks, who will now join the wall as a decoy instead. Chioma Ubagagu. Referee Gerard Flores just having a word with a player from each side right now in Gracie Bryan and Scarpelli.
And I'll be curious to see for Ubagagu, a player who missed the last game, will this be driven at the net or floated in?
It's Chioma Ubagagu. Ubagagu into the wall! And it's cleared away by Kelsey Hill.
It's not a bad idea from Ubagagu. I think, unfortunately, there was no commitment to what she wanted to do. I would have liked to see her challenge the goalkeeper, especially we've been talking about Purcell's lack of experience this season.
Here's Ubagagu again inside the box, couldn't make it stick. Counter-attack on, but it's a good step away. An unfortunate slip from Dallas Trinity as Brooklyn FC streaming forward. A tackle goes in. It was Jenna Weinbrenner with the recovery, and the referee says no foul there. It looked a little reckless.
And unfortunately, we've reached the portion of the game where there's 3 minutes left in a 1-0 game. Things are going to start to tick up. That tension, the urgency, you know, all of those emotions that go into this part of a big game. I know we've been praising him for letting this game open up, but at some point you then have to make the decision, okay, we're going to tighten things up. And we've seen a couple of fouls over the last few minutes. We might start having to see him blow his whistle a little bit more.
Samantha Rosette will enter the action to solidify the back line for the waning moments of the match. She replaces Mackenzie George. Here's Dallas Trinity trying to break forward. Ball in towards Brooks. It's cleared away on the volley by Pantuso. It's out for a corner. Chioma Ubagagu will head over to swing this one in. It was a Goal off a corner that has Brooklyn with the lead. Ubagagu has options in the box. Ubagagu plays it short instead. It's Mesa. Mesa. It's blocked away by Kroger. Second bite at the apple for Dallas Trinity from the dead ball.
And I admire the creativity from Pauline McDonald's side, but with 2 minutes left in regulation, you got to get this ball into the box, get pressure.
Ubagagu drives this one. It's a steal away by Pickard. Only as far though as Mesa. Mesa floats this one in. It's headed clear. And now the charge is on. Breaking forward is Brooklyn FC. It's Garziano. And she has her ankles chopped from behind her. Wasili Strawn coming in with the defensive duties, and just Garziano with a little bit of experience in her 13th Super League game, drawing the foul.
And I was impressed by her ability to keep the ball in bounds, too. I know the referee came over and called it a dead ball, but it never went out of bounds. To your point, that veteran experience, her ability to use her body to keep Sealy Strawn away.
It's Hope Breslin standing over the free kick. She also has Sam Kroger with her. Breslin sends it in. It'll be an easy catch for Madison White, who will bowl it out right away. Ubagagu, roared forward by the Cotton Bowl fan base. Finds Broussard. Broussard crosses it in. What a important clearance by Pickard. Thornton. Back to Broussard. Broussard with a great move and another good move. Broussard keeping it in, earning the corner. At what point does Madison White head up from her goal and head into the box?
4 minutes of stoppage time. There's still a little bit of time for Dallas to try and execute here.
Chima Ubagagu with another corner kick. Ubagagu will serve this one in. It's easy headed away by Kroger. Not the service needed at this moment as Mesa to Ubagagu. From a corner all the way back into the back line with Weinbrenner. Mesa crosses it into the backside of Pickard. It's cleared away as far away from goal as Brooklyn FC can get it. Madison White, the urgency is there. Dallas Trinity know they need something and they need it fast. As Brooks is offside, coming back from the offside position to challenge. The offside call against Brooks, an experienced player, just wasn't able to get back into an onside position to challenge. Purcell takes as long as she can on this goal kick as it was towards Rosette. Rosette couldn't get there ahead of Davison. And Davison sends forward the run of Enzi Broussard. Broussard can't get enough venom on the strike. And Niku Purcell comes up with the save again.
And I think Broussard, when she goes back to watch the film on this, I think she's going to want to have this one back. It was a perfectly played ball up the line for Davison, who has had a tremendous game, by the way. But right here, she had to make a choice. I think she had enough space to take a touch and set her up better so that she could have got more power on that. But I love the decision to try to go across, find that back post where the goalkeeper wasn't waiting.
For Enzi Broussard, who missed 7 games due to injury, it can be tough to get your shooting boots back in the form that you're used to, recovering from quite a sustainable amount of time out. Here's Rosette. She'll go to the corner. Good soccer IQ by Sam Rosette. Rosette joined by 2 Dallas Trinity players, and eventually it's Dallas Trinity sliding it away and drawing the free kick, but they've only got 90 seconds. Last-ditch saloon, Hail Mary, if you like, for Dallas Trinity, as they look to preserve their unbeaten run of form at the Cotton Bowl. Brooks heads it on. Broussard dinks it forwards. And Kruger controls. Broussard with a high press. Ubagagu onto it. Broussard just couldn't get her footing as she chased it down.
This is one of those games where things just don't fall in your favor. I think Broussard has been a tremendous substitution coming in terms of her energy and her involvement in the game. But you talked about it, when you miss 7 games because of injury, it can be difficult to get yourself back in the mix. Coach McDonald told us that she's more of a free spirit when she plays anyway, so it has been difficult to get her chemistry and her timing down.
Ubagagu to Mesa. She's sandwiched between 2 and draws the free kick. Hope Breslin, who is on a yellow card for time wasting, was the guilty party there. Wasn't too far away from becoming the first player in USL Super League to get their marching orders.
We talked about the humility of this Brooklyn team. Not a very humble moment from Breslin there, but I think she can sense that they're just a few minutes away from this win.
White, it's flicked on. Broussard goes to ground. She's back on her feet, and coming out of nowhere is Nuku Purcell. And that will be the last play of the game. The final whistle blows. Brooklyn FC just keep on winning. 6 victories in a row. And Brooklyn FC will spend the winter break top of the table. A 77th minute goal from Isabel Cox on her birthday hands Brooklyn FC the 1-0 lead. Haley Sutton, your thoughts?
My thoughts, I'm watching as the players are hugging and celebrating. What a huge win for Brooklyn. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but wow, what a finish to the Super League ball.
When we come back, we've got more to come, digging into what has been a remarkable match. It's Brooklyn 1, Dallas Trinity 0. Brooklyn FC do something that no other side in USL Super League has done this season. They head to the Cotton Bowl and they come out with 3 points. Brooklyn FC 1-0 leaders over Dallas Trinity FC. Jessica Chubb and Haley Sutton, our entire crew, delighted you're here. Let's have a look at the highlights and see how Brooklyn FC continue their 6-game win streak.
Well, it all started with Dallas Trinity. They really came out on the front foot. Sierra Hinson was active early, but it was this Sam Meza near goal that had us standing on our feet. What a strike and what an exclamation point it could have been. At that point, Dallas was feeling pretty good offensively.
But unfortunately, we talked about the momentum and the fact that Dallas Trinity weren't able to get onto the score sheet. This ball in from Kroger has Isabel Cox with a birthday weekend goal.
And you talked about it. They're not an aerial team, Brooklyn. They typically don't score goals from the header. You had that great stat there. But sometimes it's all about the timing of the match. Isabel Cox came into a game where they knew they needed a goal, and she was the goal finder.
You saw what it meant there to this Brooklyn FC side. It's not always about how many chances you create. It's about who finds the back of the net. 20 shots for Dallas Trinity FC to Brooklyn FC's 4. But it's Brooklyn FC that's victorious.
And Pauline McDonald will not be happy when she sees the way this looks. On the flip side of that, if you're Jess Silva, you're thinking, oh my goodness, we had 41 possession, we only had 4 shots and 1 on goal, and the 1 on goal went in. So it's really just about finding ways to win, and I think Brooklyn did that better today.
Well, what a pleasure it's been to bring you the full schedule on USL Super League Peacock. Brooklyn FC just can't be stopped right now. It's 6 victories in 6 games to wrap up the fall for Brooklyn FC, who will finish the winter break in the #1 position. For Jessica Charman, our entire crew, Haley Sutton, it's Brooklyn FC 1, Dallas Trinity FC 0. Kroger swings this one in under the post. It's into the back of the net. And it's Isabel Cox with the touch into the back of the net. The birthday girl has her birthday goal, and Brooklyn FC continue to soar.
Well, I feel like you spoke that into existence and you set that up perfectly. No better birthday gift than getting a crucial and pivotal goal in the fall finale. And I love that it came from the substitute, Isabel Cox. First of all, it's a brilliant ball delivered into the box there from Kroger. And we've been talking about her effectiveness. Look at the pace. Look at the...
Kroger swings this one in under the post. It's into the back of the net. And it's Isabel Cox with the touch into the back of the net. The birthday girl has her birthday goal, and Brooklyn FC continue to soar.
Well, I feel like you spoke that into existence and you set that up perfectly. No better birthday gift than getting a crucial and pivotal goal in the fall finale. And I love that it came from the substitute, Isabel Cox. First of all, it's a